You're listening to the Unreasonable Fridays Podcast Network.
What's cracking, people? Y'all ready? Let's go. This beat make me feel like a cunt. This make me feel like a cunt. This make me feel like a cunt. Cunt.
Good evening, fellow sexual subjects. You're listening to a broadcast of the CuntCast podcast, a conversation with a classily characterized cunt, carefully crafted with kindness and courage to champion conscientious consummation. I am your host, Najela Ree, and I'm joined by my friend, my confidant, my favorite human, Mr. Aaron Rand Freeman. How are you this fine eve?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I am doing okay. Okay. I'm
Huh.
working on it.
I found my first pandemic grays
Your fault.
in the front of my head.
Pandemic. Oh, those are. I love that. I love black people with gray hair. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, my dad started going gray at like 16. So I have always had one like random white hair, like just no color whatsoever in the middle of my head. But I never had like any gray hair on like where you could see it.
Right.
So I'm officially an old head.
Yes.
You can call me your auntie, even though I don't think I'm the fun wine auntie.
Sure you are. You're delightful.
Is there a like desperate for serotonin sad girl auntie category?
I thought that was the wine auntie.
No, like fun wine auntie is just like ready to party. She's got a
Right.
pool.
For what? Exactly. I thought they were the same person. You just need some money. You just need
so
some.
the pool, she's just like
Yeah, you just
constantly trying not to walk into it. Okay, I
yeah,
dig it.
you just need money. If you had money, you'd have wine in a pool, and then you would be trying not to walk into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean,
you just need a little more moolah. That's it. Just a little more scratch.
I
A
don't know.
winning
I think
lottery ticket.
I just have a brain hardwired for sadness. Like
No.
I had a horrible dream that Ronnie Radke from Falling in Reverse came to my house and for some reason just wouldn't leave. And I was trying to be like really polite. But like my parents were being super nice to him, just fact that he looks like Ronnie Radke. But it was like a weird like anxiety dream because I'm just like, get out of the house. Why are you in my house? You're not wearing a mask, get out. And it was like the most mundane yet horrific nightmare I've ever had. And it was just guy I don't find pleasant in my presence. I feel like chill wine auntie would not have those types of dreams.
Again, why does she have the wine? This is because she has dreams of Ryan Radke in her house, just walking around maskless, breathing all in the atmosphere and shit.
Oh my god. Did you know that Falling in Reverse did a cover of Gangster's Paradise? And Coolio is in the music video for it?
Oh, that is delightful. That is delightful.
That is something I feel I did know at one point, and it was so harmful to my psyche that I buried it deep inside myself, and then I became aware of it again yesterday. And I'm still just like, why, Coolio?
I don't see the problem. I mean, if Coolio's politics are as such that this would work out for him, he would think everything is cool.
Yeah. Because I feel bad because I was one of the few people who was like, I actually agree that if Coolio didn't want Weird Al to make fun of Gangster's Paradise if he was, trying to make a song about inner city turmoil in Black Plain. Maybe he did not want a white man making a silly song off it. Uh, but then he let Ronnie friggin' Radke do it. So I think that dark knowledge is why I woke up today with 2 gray hairs.
Right, and that's why you would need the wine. I'm just saying the origins of Fun Wine Auntie are dark. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. The origin
And I
story is
do realize, my audience, you guys probably do not know who Ronnie Radke or Falling in the Verse is, and, I'm just gonna say, if you have alcohol or a nice fat blunt and you're not gonna be too disturbed by what you see, look them up. Otherwise, just skip it. Like, your life will not be improved by learning about this. So, yeah. But yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be wine auntie. I also think wine aunties have to love to dish the tea.
what you do. What
And
you do. You just did. You
I
you're
don't
you're edible, auntie. Like we do need to. The problem is that we have terms that need to be a little more flexible, a little more malleable. Edible auntie and wine auntie are the same auntie in different times in different places in the United States. So you tell me you would be edible auntie.
I guess. Well, I feel like I'm at like my most agreeable and great to be around after I have smoked a bowl and I have mangoes to eat to calm my throat after I've smoked the bowl. And then I'm just like one with the universe. Like everything is fine.
Right.
You give me a bowl of mangoes. Life is good. I am purring like a kitten.
Right.
Uh, and the heat death of the universe isn't even on my mind, which it usually is.
Like I said, the origins of fun edible auntie are also dark.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's especially cruel that I've had to raw dog reality during this pandemic because I'm not cool enough to have a drug dealer here. Uh,
We're gonna have to fix that. Find you a proper
hmm?
amateur pharmaceutical provider
Ah,
in the region.
yeah. I mean, uh, I don't know how they do it in North Carolina, but in New Jersey, whoever I dated would just give me drugs. So
Um,
I never had to build up that skill of sourcing.
well, where is the nearest state with legalized marijuana?
I think it's New Jersey.
Then that's probably what's happening. I find like in places like people just literally import edibles. They buy it they buy it properly from places with legal marijuana and then just take it over to places and sell them. So it's like even like your weed dealer might have proper edibles and he might be like a reseller of cannabis products.
Yeah.
So, but you got to find the person, and that is a thing. It's not the same way it was in the tri-state area in like
No.
2012, for example. It is not.
Literally everybody was just like, "Oh, I like your face. Here's some edibles." Like you didn't even have to ask for it.
No, they were trying to get you all. Yeah, they were trying to get you all malleable so they could touch your butt, but still good weed out
Yeah.
there.
That is usually how I'm going to age myself this. That's how I tried Molly the first time, which didn't get me high or make me horny, but no chill kind of cured my depression for like 6 months.
Um, hold on, what happened?
Yeah, I was seeing this guy. He was a lawyer, and it was weird because he had the same first name as my brother, which is never cool. Um, uh, and uh, he was an enthusiast of certain substances. Um, I only was like, I'll do like weed or whatever, but I don't know. He's like, you ever had Molly? He's like, that's what the rappers are talking about. He's older, so it was weird. He had a backwards cap. It's slightly racist, but he he gave me some Diet Pepsi, uh, and then gave me some Molly, put it on me, and then told me to take a shot of the Pepsi. And I was like, okay, I don't feel anything. He was like, oh, just wait a while. And then I went on a 2.5 hour rant about just how much I miss storage devices that we don't use anymore, like the elegance of a mini disc and the utility of a jazz drive. Like I I was just in my zone. Uh, and then he's like, "So you gonna touch my pee pee?" And I was like, I don't know if he just heard me. Like, do you remember the Omega Drive? Like, we've lost so much.
I was saying Molly. It just makes you more malleable in general. It makes you more malleable. You seem more flexible.
Uh,
Um, uh,
it just made me thirsty and really excited about storage,
right,
digital storage.
right. It doesn't like it's a trope where it's like you think you get Molly and you get on, you're willing to have sex with anybody, which is untrue. That isn't what it just makes you more open to the things you were thinking about. So if you were sort of kind of thinking about touching someone, you're just more open to it. But mostly, whatever it is, including if you want to talk about storage devices.
I don't know. I had some good memories. CDs never my thing, but like jazz drives, disc drives, Nintendo 64 cartridges. Uh,
Bless you. Those are all fire hazards. Bless you though. Those are all fire. Those are all fire hazards.
yeah. There's a reason why we don't
Yeah,
uh,
we don't
do
need those
that
things.
anymore.
Um, I'm anti old storage, so you and I are just opposed. We're just on opposite sides of
Well, I also know that I am a collector of digital trash. Like when I moved, I realized like I had like a freaking steam machine. I found 3.5 floppy disk. I found a 5.5 floppy disk of Logo Writer, a a program that I used in kindergarten because I throw out nothing.
That's crazy. How did you? I'm not gonna lie. I've had several house fires, so I don't have nothing, and I junk a lot of shit. I don't know how the hell a
Well, I think it's
5.5
because I was a
floppy disk
weird
survived.
kid, so I'm like, I've imprinted on this, program, and the program has to live on the disk, so I took the disk, so I can remember how good the program made me feel despite, can't use it anymore. Though my dad, I found out, still has a 3.5 drive and a 5.5 drive because he's like, "Well, just in case." I don't know, just in case
Just in
what?
case of what?
I
Doesn't
don't
any
know.
information and have 12 megabytes of fucking information on the fucking thing. It doesn't matter what's just is this like that's someone who grew up watching that's the people who grew up watching Hackers, for example, like the movie. Because
Mhm.
you think when you think all computer information has relevance to other no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Computer information ages out of itself.
Because
Eh,
according to my dad, um, uh, putting everything on the internet is how they get you. I don't know who they
right.
is and what they're trying to get,
He,
but he's very concerned about it.
right. He grew up watching those hacker movies. 100% he watched the wrong hacker movie, and now he thinks that the computer, that just the certain things, certain computer things have natural, like, sinister intent on principle. Like, the internet has sinister intent as, like, an entity. Like, it's like a dragon at the center of the earth, the internet. It consumes all
Yeah.
information.
And I kind of feel like the internet made us all lamer. Like, we're having less sex, we're doing less drugs. You know, humans got a little more boring now that we could get like all our dopamine from likes on Instagram.
You know what it is? It's almost like more people, our highs are a little different, but more people get to experience some variation of said high because of the
Yeah.
internet.
I am kind of sad that I missed the window to try Coke.
What are you talking about?
Um, there's way too much like fentanyl laced stuff out there. I don't want to like unalive myself accidentally.
All of I know who you're talking about. You gotta know the right person. Otherwise you're absolutely correct. Yes. Otherwise, yes,
Yeah.
it's yes. Now now that's a proper pandemic discussion. The quality of some of the drugs that circulate in America have taken a nosedive
Way down.
since the
Way
pandemic
down.
started.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
that is true.
like if you are thinking about going to rehab to kick your coke habit, do that shit because it's a dangerous drug right now. I mean, it wasn't like super safe before, but like not great now, even less so than before. But I kind of feel like I was on Adderall, like prescribed to me. So if crushed up Adderall is the same as Coke, as I've been told, wouldn't Coke just make me a functional human being?
Yes.
Oh, that's no fun.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you wouldn't have the same reaction to it now.
Um,
It would still slap,
would
but you
it?
wouldn't have the same.
Well, I guess I'm like, ooh, I could arrange my thoughts, and they won't be so racy. Maybe that would be okay, cool. But I don't, I don't know.
Um,
It just seems so cool in movies.
um, it's funny. The people with ADHD who have taken Coke and mellow out are are more of an advertisement for Coke than the movies where, like, you know, people flip out. Really, or like Jesse Spano in that special episode of Saved by the Bell.
I'm so excited, so excited. I'm so scared. I hated Saved by the Bell. Anyway, speaking of Coke, something queen of transitions. Uh, some I have been annoyed for the past couple of days by a story that I have actively tried to avoid, and it follows me wherever I go. Uh, and that is John Mulaney. You know who he is, the comedian.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's one of the better white ones.
I don't know. It's because I have a lot of like fourth, fifth wave, uh, touchy feely feminists in my feeds, but apparently people have taken his latest life decisions super personally.
What he do?
Um, went on like a coke binge, I guess. Went to rehab, divorced his wife, and knocked up the chick from G4, the cute one, Olivia Munn.
Olivia Munn.
Yeah,
Oh,
and white women are upset. like like he didn't check in with them first and they thought he would have. I don't know. It's friggin' weird, man. Like I'm seeing tweets people saying like I don't even know how I can believe in love anymore.
I mean,
I'm gonna delete Bumble because what's the point?
I realize this now that we've talked about it is I think his ex-wife represents the best of like city-bound white womanhood, like as an artist and all that stuff. Like she is like the goal. She is the goal for like the cast of Girls, for example.
But I mean, and don't get me wrong, I very much enjoy John Mulaney's writing and his comedy.
Yes, he's very
I
funny.
even liked his very weird sitcom because it was very weird. Um, like I feel like I got it, but uh, uh, I don't know how he's supposedly this like prize, this like goal, like couple goals, because like if you remember early John Mulaney before he put on the suit, he just talked about being a depressed coke addict.
Yes, but he dug himself out again. Now you're talking about white maleness, and I think that he is also the goal of he's an aspire. He's like the thing that like you would want your white dude to be. I think if you are the right white woman. Like there's a lot of culture. I realize this now. There's a lot of like cultural separation that us as two Negroes cannot
Yeah,
do.
maybe because like I just don't get it.
We
Because I'm like,
don't get
okay,
it.
so
Like it's like
he like
culturally, there's like there might be like the cultural ideal might be like, you know, the white woman cultural ideal is his ex-wife, and then the cultural male white ideal is like John Mulaney having dug himself out of his coke habit to become a very funny, besuited white
but I mean,
man
like
of value.
he was very much like a my wife because like she deals with his bullshit. That to me is not aspirational.
Um, I agree
Like
with you. I'm
like
just trying to.
I've dated somebody with substance abuse issues and didn't make me feel seen and appreciated so much as a place for him to crash, which he did often. So I don't like I guess I don't really much understand why his ex-wife became such like like uh like I see myself in her and their relationship. I
She's
mean, obviously I am not a small Jewish white woman, so
he's being saved. Like you know, that's
but
I
like
mean
when was that goal? I mean,
I
obviously
mean that I'm not.
I'm black. I'm a
Well, I
black
mean
woman.
we know this much about white folks. Saving people, air quotes, is goals culturally. That is their thing. Animals, brown people, brown kids, poor people. If they can save it to their own idea of something being saved, they're here for it.
I guess.
I mean, that's
Um,
just my understanding. Is that if you like you're saying the if you're seeing yourself and someone kind of in a relationship with someone in a substance abuse issue is kind of pulling themselves out of it, then that I mean that's real. White savior
yeah,
complex is real.
I guess. Also, I've always seen male comedians like one would view a wild stallion in the distance. Great to watch, um, see it perform, see it prance. But I don't want to take it home and have it shit in my apartment uh, because it's messy and sad and gonna break your stuff. And like I I know a bunch of comedians. Uh, would I date a comedian? A lady? Yeah. A male one? No. Absolutely fucking not. So I guess it's weird. Like a lot of people are throwing around like, oh, the parasocial relationship, and people like were seeing themselves as a participant in the relationship. But I don't even think it's that. Uh, I think it's more um, like
I mean, it, I'm gone.
like I think it was supposed to prove that whatever weird bullshit they were going through, like there was going to be a light at the end of the tunnel and it was going to magically work out somehow. But I kind of feel like you had one John Mulaney and like billions of the real world. So like why would you grasp onto that? It's like seeing everybody drown on the Titanic, but like you remember seeing Aquaman, so you're like, maybe I'll be fine. Like the math isn't mathing to me.
And
Uh,
I mean, it seems like a white lady who is worthy of who is like a goal is with a white man worth saving. And it's hard to achieve your goal, and it's hard to find a man worth saving. So they were a fairy tale relationship they were an aspirational relationship for a culture that we apparently don't quite
I
understand.
guess, but I kind of feel like he himself in his performances did not ask for that
No,
and was not saying he
ain't nobody,
was that.
ain't nobody being saved by white people. Asked to be saved by white people. Not a single solitary human being being saved, air quotes, by white people. We're like, hey man, I really hope a white person shows up and bails me out of this jam I'm in. So he didn't have to say shit. Whatever he represents, this says all speaks for him, for better or for worse.
Yeah, but I also see and I'm gonna be hashtag problematic right now. But I noticed with a certain segment of the Caucasian lady delegation, they uh, latch on to the idea of a certain character, like like Tumblr obsession, but usually it's like a fictional character,
Right.
and I get that because like this isn't a person. um you could write your fan fiction and like because this person literally doesn't exist. Yes, you can make a quote unquote written by a woman man because you were literally doing that. Um, but that's a whole human being, like an actual man. So you can't be upset that this person that you decided was a certain way wasn't that way when I feel at least they were very open and honest about who they were as a person.
So you're saying is that there's nothing about John Mulaney that would suggest that he wouldn't do this, including everything he says and does in
Yeah,
reference to himself and his life.
I
This is
think,
actually well written because he is doing the things that you would think he would do given what he said in the
y-
story.
yeah, um, if you take a goofy looking dude, um, you put him in a suit, uh, maybe that shakes some of the goof off him. But at the end of the day, he's still an awkward, goofy looking dude who suddenly, because Tumblr, TikTok, and Twitter decided that he was their cinnamon roll, now has access to like the caliber of woman who at one point he couldn't even feign to smell their panties. Now they are willing to have sex with him. After a couple of bumps, yeah, he's gonna do that.
I feel like that's actually a direct quote from him. Like he would actually say that, like what you just said about himself verbatim. Is like after a couple of bumps, yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I can hear it in his voice. So I think you actually might be onto something. I think you might be on the right track.
uh, Maybe because like I said before, I am a fan of John Mulaney's comedy because I kind of feel like we are very similarly garbage people, but like we know we're garbage and we're deeply ashamed of it. But like we're very upfront when we're garbage. So when Twitter had a meltdown, like love is dead, I can't believe it's happening. I feel personally betrayed, and you guys should give me room to more. Like shut the fuck up. Like no, like he gave you ample warning that this is who he was, and I kind of feel like have you not ever met a male comedian like ever? And conversely, on the other side, it was very weird because the first wave of this happened when it was reported that he was dating Olivia Munn, which happened at the height of No Asian Hate. Um, so I saw a white woman post like hashtag No Asian Hate. You should not rely on stereotypes. Like nobody is a virus. You know the stuff performative bullshit, and then turn around and basically cast Olivia Munn as the dragon lady evil temptress that stole their golden white dude. Um, which I kind of feel like with John Mulaney, really? That's your hashtag goals? That's the golden fleece
I mean,
that you felt was a step too far?
I mean, I mean, I mean, white folks not having a good year and a half, 2 years. So I can see it if his only problem is crippling drug addiction. I mean, you take it where you can get it. He's not like racist or slapping anybody around or anything. He's just a white boy with a drug problem.
And he's been very upfront about for several years.
Right.
Uh, it just, I guess for me, it was kind of like, so you're angry at him for being performatively unproblematic, which is a phrase I actually saw somebody tweet. Couldn't find that tweet because they come to their senses and deleted it. But he's performatively unproblematic, but you are going full yellow peril on this woman because she took the goofy dick that you would have never taken. Like, why are you so mad? John Mulaney wasn't gonna fuck you, Bethany. Get over yourself. But people, like, people are big mad, and why? And also, the flip side, I'm also pissed that now people are like, Olivia Munn went from Aaron Rodgers to John Mulaney, and like, so she went from one goofy white man to another goofy white man. Like,
Well,
she
one
doesn't owe you a
one was an
hot
NFL
dude.
quarterback. That was the NFL. That's the quarterback rule. All NFL quarterbacks are considered attractive. As a baseline attractiveness compared to like Aaron Rodgers held it next to John Mulaney. While they look like two white men in suits, one plays quarterback and one
It must be it because like she dated Wonder Woman's boyfriend, uh New Kirk,
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine. She dated Rick Flag,
Right.
but like they're not bringing those guys up. But also, which I think is the nail in the coffin of this argument, she dated the teacher from freaking Glee. This woman is chaotic. She does whatever she wants with her pussy, and more power to her. But the idea that like pretty lady needs to have like quote unquote masculine hot dude to your standards,
Yeah.
which it's also weird because you see it in the same breath. We're like, oh, she went from Aaron Rodgers to John Mulaney. Could John Mulaney like handle that? To oh my god, John Mulaney got her pregnant. How could he do this to me? Like, what's wrong with you people? You're freaking unhinged.
Yes.
You don't know these people.
Yes.
Like,
We are you got it. We are very tethered to white mess, trailer park shit, hood shit. This
yeah.
is there is literally the manager at Subway somewhere in North Carolina having this exact problem.
And I kind of feel like you don't know what their relationship was like. He could have come home every day and his wife spit in his eye and shoved a chunky crayon up his butt and made him cry. We don't know. We don't know.
I mean, we're very
Why
like I
are
said,
you this invested?
listen, I will say this is I think, like I said, white folks are having a rough year. I think John Mulaney and his ex-wife are two upstanding white people as far as white people can be upstanding white people in the past 2 years. There's no video of either of them dropping N-bombs. No one is in blackface. No homophobic slurs. Just a goofy comedian and his artist wife trying to sort out a drug problem. And yeah, I get it. I get it.
And we were like, but he said he didn't want to have babies. Yeah, in a stand-up special, you don't know his life. Go away.
I mean,
Shut up,
in
goofy.
fairness, I know that. Listen, I get it. You don't. And you say the thing, and I'll say this is actually a thing. When people say they want to have babies in general, which is always disturbing to me. Like they would have babies as a core concept. They want to have babies. When people say they don't want to have babies, they might mean in a specific. They mean they just generally don't want to have babies, but there might be something specific. And I don't think we have a space for that in society. Does John Mulaney want to have babies in general? No. The fact that people in society wants you to have babies in general is a little unhinged in and of itself. What do you mean, babies? With who? When the time is right. With who? Yeah, when you get older. You're not getting any younger. What?
I just feel like we're the first generation to like make no strides in the same way that the generations before us came. We're not owning homes. We can't pay back our student loans. Like, how are we
No.
feeding these goddamn babies?
Right. I don't want to have babies. I would have a baby with my partner now if I could afford it, but in general I ain't trying to just have a baby for baby's sake, which is a weird conceit. It's a what you're saying is someone who says they do not want to have babies makes more sense than someone who says I want to have a baby. And I'm like, in general is more concerning to me than someone who says they don't want to have a baby because yeah.
I always kind of feel like everybody wants to have a baby because babies are cute, but then they turn into toddlers and toddlers turn into children and children fearfully turn into preteens and teens. They're the meanest. And then you have a whole adult you have to deal with. That's like the rest of your life. That's a commitment. That I feel like honestly, we should all assume we're not going to do that. Do a lot of soul searching, make yourself really prepared for that, and then maybe go, okay, maybe that's something I could possibly be ready for at some point in my life. But like you said, just go, I want to have a baby and have like, I know people who are like, I'm going to have 4 children. And
With
we
who?
were like sixth
How?
graders and they just already
Right.
had it in their head that they need to have this big family.
Bro.
Like, I feel like that's some like weird societal conditioning that was like,
It is unhinged the way we talk about having children without squaring away partners or income or careers.
yeah, do you, like in our healthcare system, the cheapest birth in a hospital is like $15,000. Who can afford that in this economy? Nah. But yeah, apparently people are big mad that John Mulaney went and had a baby, which I'm not seeing people go, you know what's great for maintaining your sobriety? A screaming baby. I'm not seeing people say that. I'm seeing people say, like, well, he told us he didn't want to have children, and now he's having a baby with that woman, with that brown one, which I feel is the underlying current of all of this.
Yes. Yes, this is a highly publicized mess because she's Asian.
Yeah, he didn't have the cute little white baby that you thought he was going to have. He's having that Vietnamese Chinese white baby, and
I mean, a
that
lot of
makes me
people.
big angry. And I feel do some soul searching, like, and like I don't see like black women this pissed off that like Cardi B let Offset knock her up again. We're just like, oh, she's happy, whatever. Like, I'm not seeing think I've seen 4 think pieces about this. in the last 2 days. Why? Why? It's just it's and you know what's really pissing me off? I'm seeing them do it, like, now that their, top cinnamon bun has forsaken them, now they're moving to Bo Burnham because he's the other.
Oh yeah, I know Bo Burnham.
Yeah, which I can't like, the thesis of most of Bo Burnham's, content and output is about how you don't know him, he doesn't want to know you, you do not love him, and he needs you to know that.
I
Like,
mean,
Bo Burnham is like number one anti-celebrity celebrity. Like he like that's his whole deal.
well, I mean
Uh,
that makes him more exciting.
I don't know. I don't know how you can sit through Inside and say it affected you and you quote unquote got it and then go, "Oh, well, John Mulaney let me down. My new unproblematic fave is Bo Burnham." He literally has a song where he sings about how problematic he is. But I don't know. Have you seen Inside?
I've never seen Inside.
Ah, okay, you should see it. It's very good. It's good for a comedy special that will probably make you cry. I don't know why. I don't know if I would even call it a comedy special. Though it's more like a weird art house film of a guy going slowly insane in a very small room. So it's it's basically I mean, I don't want to call it pretentious, but kind of, but also very cathartic. I especially, uh, for us who make content and have had to deal with, you know, yeah, knowing who you are, but then realizing that who you are doesn't really exist to most of the people who quote unquote know you because they know you through your content. It's weird. It's great. I love it.
All right, I'm doing it. I
I mean,
trust you.
it's still it's white. It's the words of a white man.
Listen, I that's why I'm watching it is because you don't recommend a lot of white men stuff to me. So
Usually
I
there's a
am
very
trusting you.
long apology.
I mean, even the white men stuff you like, you don't recommend. Like you've never suggested that I partake in Brandon Urie, for example. Never once. I've known you liked him for years, and you have never once linked
I
me or
like his
suggest.
music.
Right. You've
We are
never said
making
you.
that distinction hard.
Listen exactly, and in your fandom, you have never suggested that I join you, and you have taken it as your personal journey. Um,
That's because I don't remember when I first was trying to get you, I was like trying to ease you into it. Like I brought it up, like, hey, do you like this band? And you were always like, I don't know. Like, why are you showing me this white man? I was like, those are three different bands. And you were like, no, that's the same white man and the same bad haircut.
I mean,
But I showed you the video uh, uh, for girls, girls, boys, and you were just like, no. You didn't laugh the whole video.
I mean, I mean, maybe just yeah.
I'm not gonna say that his naked body isn't like deeply offensive in a way that it's hard to understand and articulate, but you understand when you're looking at it. Um,
I think no. I think the first I think I remember was I think he covered a D'Angelo song.
well, he didn't cover a D'Angelo song. That's the video where he made a shot-for-shot remake of D'Angelo's Untitled video.
That was it. Okay, because there
Yeah.
was something that I saw that I was like, oh well, this won't do, and I think that was it. I think that
Your
was.
reaction was very like you were insulted in a way that you had not been prepared to
I
be.
wasn't, no,
And
because
I
I didn't
felt bad.
I didn't think that somebody would have the audacity. Like, I've only seen the video recreated in spoof form because it's such an iconic video
Yeah.
that I
Which is
didn't.
what I thought that was.
A spoof?
I
Yes.
I was like, it has to be because, you know, look at it. But I don't know. Then you started to make the case that maybe he was being serious, and I got
I
uh
mean, he was being serious, as I've never heard him make a proper, like, out of all the Brandon Urie things I've ever partaken in and looked up, he's a very self-serious artist type person. He's an artist. In the jail,
see,
he's an
that's your
artist.
problem. You looked up what Brandon Urie thought about things. The man has been famous since he's 18. He's never been a whole human being. He never cooked. Like like why would you seek out his opinions?
And he's never cooked. I mean, you're not wrong. He's never cooked. I mean,
Like
you're absolutely
if
right.
you think about it, like the age you become a celebrity is when you stop like being a human that can relate to other humans. Like literally their biggest hit came out when he was 18 years old.
Ah,
So
so he's not been a human for a long time.
like I would argue never was.
And the fact that and I appreciate that you see this and just shield your friends and loved ones from him.
Yeah. So literally I've had people send me articles and I'm like, no, is he singing? Is it him performing something? Then I don't need to know. I don't need to know his opinion on literally anything. Just let him sing his little songs and I'll go, huh. And then I'll move on. Let me enjoy things because every time I learn more about him, you make it harder to like listen to my favorite thing. It's well, and also I kind of feel like this does tie in to what we were talking about with Bro Burnham and John Mulaney, where it's like just to participate and consume things now seems to be like a moral decision.
Yeah.
And that it makes it very hard.
It seems like there are the people who are really doing it right and the people who are kind of and there are folks who are kind of trying to mimic it and not and missing the mark. So like throwing yourself headlong into, say, John Mulaney's relationship, for example, is the wrong way to go about it. But that's because he's a kind of like he's a white comedian.
Well, I kind of feel it's like the fact that you like the content of somebody who did something you don't like in their personal life doesn't make you a bad person. And I feel like that is also where a lot of this like hand wringing and hysteria is happening with this because people are like, "Oh, I put him on a pedestal, so now this reflects poorly on me somehow."
Yes.
Other than I just feel like he made jokes and made you laugh. That doesn't make you a participant in anything that he's done. Which is it's so crazy that I'm even having to articulate this point, but it seems like people don't get that. Like the fact that I still listen to Panic at the Disco is not me endorsing Brendan Urie making N-word jokes a couple of years ago. Like don't make me responsible for the actions of this random white man just because he made some content I liked.
I have a sneaking suspicion that it is because of because we aren't white. There is a detachment there. We have
There is I do come in with the expectation that I will learn something that will make me sad about the people who produce things I like.
right one, and also you have a greater wealth of people to align yourself with. If you're like a white person, and you're trying to kind of like be respectful of the world around you and kind of like align yourself with your culture without, taking a chomp out of anyone else's culture. It's slim pickings.
Yeah. I also just feel like, why are you expecting that from some celebrity you like? Like, I don't I try not to follow too many celebrities that I like follow them just because I like what they do. Um, I usually follow people who don't like like if I want to know when something is coming out, like I follow the Saint Motel Twitter so I know when their like vinyl is going to drop so I can get it. But I don't follow them to monitor if they're acting morally upright. And I see that people do that.
Right.
Like another band that I really like, I don't know how, but they found me, which is the ex drummer from Falling in Reverse, a band I can't stand, and the ex bassist from Panic at the Disco made a band, and I really love it. But I followed them because I wanted to know when their vinyl was going to come out. And I saw people going like, "Hey, you should talk about like Black Lives Matter." And these are two of the whitest men ever.
Right.
And I was
But
kind of delighted that his answer was like, "I grew up in like Utah. I had no experience with anything about this until I was like 19 years old. I am not the person who you should be listening to on this. Like, why are you even asking my opinion on this?" And I'm like, you know what? Yes, white man, you know nothing.
right. But I
You reverse Jon Snow this
right.
and shut the hell up.
Right. And that's kind of the thing. It's like, imagine like how do you like if you're a person, right? And you're trying to figure out what to do because if you're a white person and you're looking at white people, you're just like your favorite white person might be awful. But then how do you make sure that your favorite white person is not awful? You know what I mean? Like, where do you find out this information? Like, what do you do with it? Like, I just to say I totally get it. I kind of get
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I'm in like a weird limbo where it's like, are they giving money to like lobbyists that are trying to take away people's rights and freedoms? Are they like actively doing harmful things to a community? Then definitely I feel like don't spin them or don't consume, because then you are literally giving money to something problematic. But to have like this crisis of character because the dude in the pop punk band you liked in 2015, who totally looks like he says the N-word often, got caught online saying the N-word. I kind of feel like, are you that shocked? Are you that surprised that the guy in oh, I don't want to say a name because mm, I'll get in trouble, but like pop punk dude 84 uh, isn't the woke king that you decided he was in your head.
Yes.
Like, I kind of feel like you're just not being realistic with the probability that he's probably shit.
Right. We have a detachment from that. I don't give a fuck what white entertainers do. They don't, man, I don't give a fuck. If they're racist, then I can cut them off. But imagine if there's like cultural value. You see yourself in John Mulaney. Imagine that. We can't. You're a big black girl, big black dude. We don't see ourselves in John Mulaney, his situation, any of this. And
Like, I don't see myself in him, but like I could empathize
right.
with how like the frustration that he's going through, because like we're human, but like I am not going to feel like I somehow have a moral failing because I enjoyed the jokes he said and then he may have cheated on his wife. Like,
Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that. But it's like I said, I get it. I
Like, my character is not defined by the content I consume,
mhm.
but I kind of feel in a weird way because of how fandom is. And, we've basically marketed people into thinking what you consume is your personality and your character. That suddenly, if you like Star Wars and now Star Wars is woke, now you have to burn something down and riot because the thing you like isn't reflective of what you think your values are, because that's what content is for. I think that's a problem with our society that corporate entities are saying, well, yes, consume us because we will make you the better person. Like,
I mean,
consume our Wendy's because we're woke and we understand your manic depressive episodes. Like, it's weird. It's a weird landscape to be in with
I
like
mean,
woke late stage capitalism.
I mean, there are the attempts on our wallets are new and unique. Um, I appreciate them because they're a new brand of absurd. They're not our parents' brand of absurd, and I appreciate that. Like I am one of those people that really I always joke around that I love new problems. The concept of new problems intrigues me. I do not want to have the same problem. One of the things about living here in America is that essentially I have the same problems that my mom has. My mom had and her mom had. Now it annoys the shit out of me. I hate it. But the possibility that I wouldn't intrigues me. So we now have this problem where, Wendy's acknowledges manic depression, and as a result you should get a bacon triple, bacon dub, a bacon junior. you know I won't lie to you, I'm here for that bullshit. It's new bullshit. It is clearly transparent. They can't be trusted. I, I like the new problem. I mean, like, I don't want to hear that like smoking is good for the baby because it makes the baby small and easier to give birth. Like, I don't want those. I don't want that advertised to me. You know what I mean? Like, that's old absurdity. Like, I want new absurdity. I'm not saying it's gonna work, but I'm gonna say that I'm willing to. I want to have the laugh. I want to be approached I want to be approached as a different consumer than my mom and my dad. It's weird, and I totally understand what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. But
Like, it gives me like it makes me feel so weird, especially because like we live in this like post algorithmic dominance where you're just put into like you're shunted into these categories and you're supposed to act a certain way according to your category.
absolutely,
And it seems so reductive. Like, that's not how humanity is supposed to work.
absolutely not.
Like, there's no nuance. Like, I literally had somebody tell me, like, how can I call myself a progressive if I listen to the music from a man who made like an N-word joke in 2014? And I was just like, hey, do you listen to any music ever? Because I have an encyclopedic knowledge of problematic shit that entertainers have done. Like, there's no uh, ethical consumption here. Um, Not even eating ass, because I can tell you what some of the porn people are doing, and it's not great. So, like, I don't know how, like, it's I feel like we've created a minefield that nobody could possibly navigate correctly, and then we're gonna judge people on their failure when it was guaranteed in the first place. Because whether it's new music, old music, like movies or content, whatever you're trying to consume, it probably had some problematic shit. And like there is no perfect entertainer. There's no perfect uh, content that consuming it makes you a good person. and I see it with like the people that are fans of leftist YouTubers, where if you critique them, suddenly like you are not critiquing that person who's making the content, but you're critiquing the uh, ideology that they are talking about. When it's like, no, this person was actually shitty to an actual real life Black person that I know, which is why I don't want to consume their content because their face annoys me. And like that's fine, that's okay. I just I think it's so weird that we don't allow ourselves to have more nuanced conversations about why we're suddenly having these deep connections that should not be made when it comes to something like entertainment. Like, I don't feel like watching a movie, listening to a song, reading a book is going to make you a good person or not. It's what you do with it, how you engage with it, that's going to decide that, not just the fact that you engaged with it at all.
Huh. You're right. I think how to be a good person has been lost. Mostly because being a good person, air quotes, requires a lot of work that I don't think that we're comfortable with doing.
I
Like
think
that's really long. We're just not comfortable with the work required to be a good person, air quote.
well, I think modernity requires so much suffering for so much mundane things. Like, uh, you would be so sad to know how much slavery goes into everyday items. Your cell phone, the fruit and vegetables you eat,
I mean,
just untold human suffering. The clothes you're wearing, somebody suffered for all of it. And I think it's weird that instead of coming to terms with that and trying to change it, we're instead going, let's cheer on the $1 billion monopoly corporation who made the movie with the people of color, because now that is activism more so than, you know, stopping actual like human suffering and atrocities, which happen every day. Like right now, as you're listening to this, atrocities all over the globe constantly.
yeah, that is a pandemic issue where where the world's kind of closing in on us and we don't know what to do about it. So we just punch down. We punch down so low that we care about John Mulaney with the Asian girl knocking up the Asian girl after getting a divorce. You know what I mean? Like it it is a larger issue where we take the moral stand we can understand, because certain moral stands will exist will lead to a fight that we'll never see the end of. And when you get to that line of a conflict that will outlive you, humans tend to turn around and go the other direction. Like historically, in my limited understanding, in my short time on this earth, is that if the conflict exceeds your idea of your own human life, you will then turn around and engage the easier opponent so that you can conceivably win the thing you're trying to win.
Yeah, I do agree. It is way easier to make a snide comment at, you know, the Black anti-racist that listens to the problematic white boy than it is to tackle systematic racism.
Right. And I think that is where the problems kind of pop in, is exactly that, where it's you just have problems that you cannot fathom the end of, and once you get there, then all bets are kind of off.
Yeah.
I think human beings, when faced with problems that will outlive them, will objectively respond randomly. They will
Yeah.
respond like you can no longer guess what a human will do once the problem could conceivably outlive them. You cannot gauge what they will do.
I mean, only a few things are sure in this life, uh, and that is that a white male comedian on coke will fuck a surprisingly hot woman
Yes.
if he has a chance.
I mean, the same energy that he has for that interaction is why you love him. Yes.
Uh, I feel like we finally did a show that wasn't completely about impending doom or despair.
We did.
I mean, it is about the end of critical thinking and uh, the rise of toxic parasocial relationships, but
I think I think, and this isn't, this is where, tell me if this is strange. I think we've become so efficient that we just don't have anything short term to dwell on anymore. Our problems now, like, we're so efficient, like we don't have the same grind that our parents had. So much is removed that all we can see is the void. And I think it fucks with us. The fact is, we don't have the day-to-day grind to distract us from the fact that there's no reason why you, someone with 8 elite skills, can't make over $70,000, for example. You know what I mean?
well, my
Like
brain has an answer for that, and it's called dysfunction.
yeah. Right. And I think that we're kind of losing our way because we're just kind of staring at that, and that is fucking with us. I think in particular our generation, this generation, where it's like we have issues and now the solution is all we have. Like, we don't have, like, if you don't like racism, there's no short answer besides the fact that it's woven into the fabric of the United States of America. There's no other answer. We've now gone through so many Negroes that they can tell you whatever you're thinking about is a problem. Same thing with harassment in offices, harassing women in corporate America. We are now at the point where the problem we now know is systemic. We have to, like, disband Activision and, like, Ubisoft, for example. There's no other answer. We can't distract anyone. The answer is it's in the well water.
Yeah.
We have
And
to.
I also feel, to go back to my point, like, there's nothing that us as the endpoint consumer can do about it. Like, as much as we could say, I'm not going to buy Activision games, like, Activision is already this huge conglomerate.
Right, and that's why
So
and what we
the
go on.
the abuse is already churning out. So by the time it takes that boycott to actually affect their bottom line, which they're making billions, it's gonna be a minute. Like, what is, like, you as an individual can feel no solace in your decision to disengage with Activision or Ubisoft or
Right,
any other, the plethora of terrible places that look the other way when people are being, like, raped and sexually harassed,
right,
because that's society. Like, the more you pull it back, it's just everything.
right. And I think we're now at the point where, as we're seeing it, it's fucking with everybody. And we are now trying to flail at solutions that now require us to take long stands. Like, our parents worked to stop working. You know what I mean? Like, that was the goal, was to get things so that you could have things and then tap out at whatever age you felt comfortable. You get a house, you get the money, you get the pension, you get the job, and you are no longer learning things. You're done. You beat life. You 100%ed life, and you might be 32, 28, 38, 41, 23. That was the contract. We don't have that. So we're out here in the desert. And now, at the end of this, as 40-year-old, hyper-trained, underpaid people with myriad problems, you then tell us we have to fix society. All we're left with is a 100-year war with the fabric of America. At the
Yeah.
end of this journey, at all of us, as we are exhausted and duped and frustrated, we have 100-year war with the fabric of America that requires us to do such things as never buy Crash Bandicoot again. I'm 40. I can't skip out on Crash Bandicoot for 60 years.
Yeah.
60 years.
Nobody's arms are long or strong enough to box late stage capitalism.
Right. And it would require all of us to see it and act in unison. And I think that, like I said, just staring off into the infinite void, the 100-year war in front of us, has driven huge chunks of us over the edge. And
Yeah.
we are.
And I feel like the generation after us and the one after them definitely, like we were the like, lol, so random, life is meaningless, but like we still like got the degrees and everything. I feel like the generation after us and definitely the generation after them are just going to be like, nothing matters.
Yep.
Like we haven't seen nihilism like it's going to be for the generation, because think about it, you don't own anything, your house is rented, you owe like the software you use, you don't own it, like everything is service as like on demand, so you are just going to be just like a pinball in a machine, constantly trying to make enough money so that you can sustain just basic living, and no amount of entertainment is gonna make that livable.
Right. The generation after us will have no contract. Honestly, I think the opposite is true. They will fist fight because they actually, like I see it now as I teach like kids. I've taught like kids for a bit. Because they don't have the same they don't have this, they're not being told, they're not being guaranteed the same shit. There's a generation of kids who are looking at us struggle as their parents, and they're like, oh, well, fuck this. What's the problem? Oh, shit, we just have to do this, that, and a third for however many decades. But they're like 12. So they got it. There's no contract of being told if you do this, then you will be able to tap out of life. They're seeing that contract as a farce in real time. So
well, I think that generation is a generation could be like, fuck it. But like that generation after that one is going to be like, there's nothing you can tell me that's going to make me do this.
Oh, no. I honestly think that the reason why we are the way we are is because our parents emotionally and physically beat the shit out of us to keep us in line for this belief system that they had. That if you just stay in line, then you will be able to get the things I have. If you would just stop fucking around, being gay, shut up about being black, fucking, I don't know why the fuck your hair is blue, turn that shit back to its natural color, fucking straighten that shit down, all that shit, and you can get the shit that I got, because that's what we're doing here. We're getting stuff, so we're tapping out. And we're seeing that that's false. But we're frustrated with it because that governed decades of our lives. We're still kind of digging ourselves out of that learning at 35, 40, but these kids are seeing it not work in real time. So it's like, they're like, oh, this sucks. Okay, well, fuck this, mom. I'm just seeing it like, they're just like, fuck this, dad. This isn't it. You can't, you change jobs every 4 years. We change states every 6. This ain't it. You know what I mean? Like this is whatever is wrong with whatever this is, has got to stop. But because they're never told the virtues of any of this, then they have the ability to change things. I think the next generation is actually going to be really, really, really blessedly interesting, honestly, for this particular
I think,
reason.
Like, our generation were kind of like, maybe we could consume our way out of this.
Oh yeah,
somehow.
no, we're fucked. Our generation, we're gonna be fussing until we're like 7 years old. 100%.
Like, I'm still flabbergasted that people are like, "Oh my god, Cartier let Beyoncé wear their giant blood diamond." Progressive. Whee! Like why the fuck do I care? Uh, and I realize that like that's not how the majority of our generation feels, but I feel the kids coming after us are 100% like, fuck you and your blood
Right.
diamond, fuck your black capitalism.
Yes. Like I said, the biggest problem we're dealing with are the voices telling us that we're wrong for seeing the things that like the youngest generation see clearly. We're
Yeah.
being gaslit and we're struggling with it. And we're gaslighting ourselves and each other because all of us are in different stages of finding out our parents are assholes. The government's lying. We're
Yeah, that
all
it that hurt. Especially when you live with them.
yes, so
I had the very painful I made the mistake of trying to explain they them pronouns to my parents and realized that they were having a breakdown, like a tantrum, like a child, just because there here's a new concept, even though it's not new because singular they them it's just part of the English language and always has been. Uh, but the fact that I was like, "Hey, bacon, they them, that is their pronoun. Please, if we're gonna talk in my presence, can you just use that? I find it disrespectful when you don't." You would have thought that I spit on the very wounds of Christ in front of them.
well, you did. They like I said, this whole life, everything they built is in service of what they believed to be the end point, the finality. Their parents suffered so that they could figure it out, and this is what they did. To be able to
Yeah.
have something or anything that is their own to claim, and to be able to claim it and then tap out.
Yeah, I can't even get into my parents' headspace anymore because, like, randomly, I was like cutting a cucumber, and my mom was just like, "But what about a husband? Won't you feel so much better if you were married?" And I looked at her and I was like, "No." Like it never even occurred to me that to get married to make myself feel better. I was like, "So do you want me to take on a whole other human being when I can't even people by my fucking self?" Like, what weird logical leap do you make?
that is
Like,
that
my
is
brain can't even make me happy, and I'm supposed to like help some other motherfucker? Like, are we just inviting people to our mental breakdowns now? Because that's what it's gonna be.
the that's what I mean is our there's the generation, our parents, there's a generation of people, not all parents, but like there's a constant struggle about that exact thing. How do we solve life? We know we can't. Our parents told us we would. Society tells us you can. We know you can't. That reality is just we are absolutely losing our fucking shit trying to process all those messages at the same time.
Yeah. The only way I see radical change happen involves aliens and mechs, and unfortunately, our lives are just not that interesting. So
I mean, uh, yeah. We would need aliens. Maybe. I mean, humans, one thing I've learned about the coronavirus is that we are really good at telling ourselves just any old shit. So
yeah,
I don't know. Like the people who folks who have it who are like trained to believe that this is it. I think they're just going to believe it. Like I used to think that like I said COVID taught me a lot about humans
yeah. For
and
me, it was Parkland because I learned that there were parents of children who were shot at their school,
yes.
and then their actual parents who like were with them in the hospital.
Yes.
then went on to become QAnon conspiracy people
Yes.
and believe that the shooting was a false flag and never happened,
Yes.
despite
Yeah.
having to deal with a child who has post-traumatic stress disorder because of the shooting.
Yes.
Like, actually, even before Parkland, uh, when a gunman came and murdered so many like literal babies, and people are like, "Hey, now's not the time to make it political." I knew we had no hope as a society.
Right.
None.
Right. And they're saying is do not drag out this conflict. That is what they're saying. Could you please not drag out this conflict? That's it.
Yeah. So like 20 minutes back, I was about to say like, "Hey, we did a show where we didn't do well on the futility of hope for our doomed culture and society. But we pulled on us, and
Listen.
here
No
we
way, man.
are.
Listen. We have the ability to make change because we can see it. I am willing to argue that we have the ability to make change because we can see it. And that is the thing. We have clear view of our goals and our objectives. Something our parents did not have and their parents did not have. We are blessed with clear vision and the ability to then change every step of our lives for the rest of our lives. That is unique to us. Now I'm saying, am I going to be able to not buy Crash Bandicoot? I'm gonna try and not buy Crash Bandicoot. No fucking guarantees. That little fucking marsupial raised my black ass. I don't know. But I'm gonna try, and now that I see it,
The thing is like it's not just about avoiding Crash Bandicoot, because if you pay into like any of like the games as service type of things, so like I pay for Game Pass. Game Pass already pays for those games. So even if I don't personally play them, I've already paid into the system that lets those people make those games. Ah!
Right. However, we can still note our steps in a way that other generations could not. And that in and of itself is actually a strange blessing if you want to see it that way now. Are people going to fight you over it because they're going to try and shorthand the long journey and be like, you like John Mulaney and he was with this Asian whore and now you're a monster? Well, that person's trying to shorthand 50 years of growth, research, and decision making into one comedian fucking one pretty woman, knocking her up. That person's doing it wrong. We all have the same vision. We all have the same opportunities. It can be joyful if you make it. But it is a lot of work, and our parents told us we would be done by now. So fuck you, parents, as an entity. Fuck you. I mean, your parents might be nice. If you're listening and your parents nice, please don't take offense. I'm certain your parents are delightful. But the franchise,
the Boomer franchise really fucked it up.
Lied to our faces.
Yeah.
There you go. Ended the show on a hopeful note.
Yeah, like so much hope. Like we're just
very hopeful here.
Oozing that shit.
We are dripping. We are now we have to get a Swiffer because there's hope all over the floor.
Yep. Gushing it. Oodles of gushy hope dripping down my leg. Now I've made it weird and I apologize. So on that note, thank you for listening. And I hope you will join us again. And I will see you next Tuesday.